Just a few months after their mother's death, Charles took the boys to Canada. The visit was a new experience for them. William, emerging as the royal family's pin-up prince, looked far more mature than young Harry. William received a pop star's reception and was beginning to enjoy his popularity. Harry had already made a trip, just with Charles, to Swaziland. Clearly a child who still needed his father, he relished the change of continent, climate and customs, although Charles was not too sure about the local brew. All this took Harry's mind off his terrible loss.
Harry loved it. Suddenly he was the centre of attention. There was no William there to make him feel second best. He was the centre of attention, and he lived up to it really well, and it was a big treat for him. It was organised to take Harry's mind off what had happened and give him something to look forward to.
The Spice Girls were there too.
When they were younger, Harry and William loved the Spice Girls. And William even had a poster of them in his room at Eton. And again, to kind of cheer them up, Charles invited the Spice Girls to Highgrove, and they went in a helicopter. And when they got there, they were very bouncy, and they ran up to William and Harry's bedroom and bounced on the beds with them.
This was Harry's treat. Sport provided a focus for Harry. Skiing appealed to his daredevil nature. Not quite as academic as William, Harry also loved football, rugby, cricket, swimming, athletics, and, of course, polo. He tried tobogganing in the Swiss Alps and quad biking on the Colorado ranch of film star Goldie Hawn. Harry grew into a tall, athletic young man, but he was not a natural student. He had visited Eton when William started in 1995. Harry followed 3 years later. Both boys relied heavily on their housemaster, Dr. Andrew Gailey.
Diana had many reservations about Harry going to Eton, not least because William had quite a difficult few years there. He found it difficult to make friends and he felt very isolated. Diana, being the protective maternal figure that she was, obviously had concerns that Harry would also go through that feeling of isolation, but also she was very aware that she didn't have an academic son.
Founded in 1440, Eton is England's leading independent school. It has a uniform dating from 1820 and many ancient traditions. As at their prep school, Harry followed in William's footsteps. At Eton, they were treated the same as other boys. Harry battled academically and had to drop one advanced level subject. But he enjoyed drama and art particularly. William made a success of Eton, but was the decision to send Harry there the right one?
Harry had a tough time at school. He was sent really to the wrong school. Eton is an intellectual hothouse. Harry is not an intellectual. He was kept back a year before he actually went up to Eton to try and speed up his education at prep school. I recall hearing soon after he arrived, he'd made friends with a young guy who'd also just arrived, who had not had a successful test in some particular test they were doing. This boy said to Harry one day, "You don't know what it's like to be bottom of the class," to which Harry said with great alacrity, "Well, you don't know what it's like to be bottom of the school." And I think that tells you everything you need to know about how he struggled at Eton.
Like Charles, Harry enjoyed school plays. Dressing up appealed to the creative side in him, but he didn't learn the difference between costumes like these, which were acceptable, and the Nazi outfit, which was not. That incident raised questions about his schooling. Was this a bad day for Eton?
Eton has a fantastic reputation. They turn out some very intelligent young men who go on to great things, and there's no doubt it's an extremely good school. I think there's only so much a school can teach. If you're not awake and listening during class, well, there's not much they can do about it.
Harry excelled on the playing fields of Eton. He was captain of games and was good at soccer, rugby, Eton Fives and the annual Eton Wall game. At advanced level, he gained a D grade for geography and a B grade for art. This was his favourite subject. He allowed the cameras to record his advanced level project work. He showed his brightly decorated study bedroom. He left school joyfully in June 2003. However, a year later, a former art teacher claimed she had been instructed by the school to give him unfair assistance with his art coursework.
It's Diana that always said that Harry's fine, he's artistic, he's a fantastic sportsman. William is more sensitive. William considers things before he does them. I mean, Harry will do something on the spur of the moment and think about the consequences later.
A classic example of Harry's impulsive nature occurred when he was teased outside a nightclub. A photographer mocked him about his alleged art cheating. Harry reacted by lashing out and had to be restrained by his minders. Should Harry have been prepared for such goading?
He was full of booze. He was angry that they were there. I mean, utterly naive, because he knew that there were going to be photographers outside that club, and he just came out. He couldn't control himself, and 20 years of being aware of these bloody photographers, he went out like a rocket.
And I remember saying at the time that this was the actions of a young man that had come to the end of his patience. He's witnessed this with his mother. You had his own uncle say in that marvellous eulogy that the press, in his view, were in some ways responsible for her death. Now, all this history that builds up inside his head must surely play a part and in some way explain why he reacted in that way. The only way out of this is to sort of leave the club. Whatever your feelings, whatever your views, is actually to give that amazing smile and that wave, because that's the one thing the media don't want. What Harry did was give them that amazing opportunity for the different picture. So therefore, he effectively played right into their hands.
Harry played polo for Eton and at one stage considered a career as a professional polo player. It was an indication of his difficulty in finding a role suitable for himself as a royal second son. Other princes in the past have been in similar positions. Of particular interest to Harry is his uncle Andrew, Duke